Los Angeles and Miami. Now, the producer and rapper and media mogul, one of the biggest names in his industry, has had to fend off several lawsuits in the last year alleging sexual abuse and even sexual trafficking. The multiple Grammy Award winner's allegations have set X on fire. A clip of artist Usher in conversation with Howard Stern has the performer talking about his experience with the rapper and how he was exposed to. Well, let's just play it here rather than have me characterize it.
I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah, that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you saying?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Meanwhile, Diddy last month hired the same attorney who represented Ghislaine Maxwell, part of sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's ring of abusers. Combs' legal troubles have been mounting with multiple suits alleging sexual abuse and misconduct. In December, the music producer issued a statement saying, quote, "I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." He has had to step down from some of his positions and now joins a long list of powerful men being taken down by the movement known as Me Too. What do you make of this, Robbie?
Well, look, I want to proceed a little bit carefully until we know more of the details being alleged here. Obviously, there was this lawsuit brought by a former girlfriend that was settled immediately with Diddy admitting no wrongdoing. She accused him of sexual assault and also sex trafficking. We heard from Usher there about the things that were going on in the house when he was at a very young age. Frankly, on tape there, he sounds like he's bragging about it, not traumatized by it, but who knows?
I mean, his body language is really interesting. He starts kind of fiddling with his hand. I mean, we're all just reading tea leaves here, but I remember years ago when it first came out that Usher had lost his virginity at age 13, and you can even see it a little bit in that clip, the way that Robin, Howard Stern's co-host there, or partner, brings it up in this kind of joking way where we can imagine if the gender roles were reversed, no one would think of a 13-year-old girl in a house full of people wanting to have sex with her was like a fun or funny experience.
Sure.
But that's how we think of male sexuality, and that's how the society treats young boys. But it's a horrible scenario to imagine for this kid. And when you look at not just that video, but the fact that Sean Combs, because of his power in the music industry, has had such
Thanks for tuning in.
To an influence over a number of young stars, including Justin Bieber. There's been a clip circulating of the two of them giving an interview together. Bieber is such a young kid, 13 or so, preteen, a baby, being put in a situation where he's alone with Sean Combs as a guardian, with Sean Combs not talking as directly as Usher puts it there about sexual activity in the home, but kind of alluding to how much fun they're going to have together when he has Justin Bieber for 24 or 48 hours or however long they were going to be together. The lawsuit that you alluded to from last year from music artist Cassie, who was also a former girlfriend of Diddy, they started dating when she was 19 and when he was 37. She came out with these allegations at the end of last year, accusing him of sex trafficking and sexual assault. And it wasn't even 24 hours, I think, before they settled. And all of that went back underground. But it's not, I think, surprising because of all of the accusations that have pre-staged this one, that chickens are coming home to roost, it seems.
Yeah. I do always, and this is partly because at the magazine I also work for a reason. My colleague Elizabeth Nolan Brown, who we've had on the show many times, has done a lot of reporting on sex trafficking and how law enforcement has, in some cases, used that, has rounded up, well, in some cases, frankly, things that we libertarians don't think should be legal, that are just consensual prostitution, into sex trafficking, and also cases where something that still could be criminalized gets escalated to sexual trafficking. I mean, is she, really making the claim that, she was kept in a basement and sold out to other people, that kind of thing? I don't know. I would like, obviously, he's entitled to due process, and just, the fact that he settled a lawsuit from a former romantic partner doesn't mean he's guilty of anything. Now, this is the feds rating him, taking evidence, gathering information, so there very well may be more to it now. And of course, I am uncomfortable with the idea of young people, young men, but still young people, being exposed at that age to, if they were, to gratuitous sexual content.
That's right. Assuming that the woman who took Usher's virginity was an adult, that's rape. That's statutory rape. Who's 13 years old, and it's so difficult to, again, the way we think of young boys versus young girls is so radically different, and I believe inappropriately so. But it is against the law, and young boys are vulnerable. The Cassie complaint wasn't the only one from last year. In December, a Canadian woman identified only as Jane Doe said she was sex trafficked and gang raped back in 2003 when she was 17, and an 11th grader. In that lawsuit, I'm reading from ABC News, it names Combs and former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harvey Pierre, an unidentified third defendant, and claims that Pierre and the third unnamed defendant approached the teen at a lounge in Detroit, Michigan, where Pierre allegedly told her he was best friends with Combs and proceeded to call him. The suit apparently contains photos and claims Pierre and the unnamed defendant convinced the teen to take a private jet to Combs' studio in New York City, where she alleges she was plied with drugs and alcohol and gang raped by the three defendants. That sort of a narrative, again, that's just an allegation, we don't know if it's true, but that sort of a narrative starts to map on more closely to what we think of as, I think you would agree, a more concrete allegation of sex trafficking, the likes of which we saw with the Epstein case. Going out and recruiting young girls, bringing them back to a house, plying them with certain kinds of drugs and the like, I think starts to get a lot closer to a more traditional definition of that term.
Sure. Although with the Epstein case, these were underage girls we were talking about, which I don't know if that's an element of the, we're talking 17-year-olds, which can be underage depending on what state you're in, frankly, or if you now transporting them over state lines, it gets into a national law is different from the state law, so could very well be something criminal in there. But it's a interesting situation that obviously we need to learn more about. Diddy being someone, if you grew up in the 90s, was a very pivotal figure in the music from that era, and as we're talking about, did contribute to the careers of even more also very famous to this day musical people from that era and the subsequent era, like Usher, like Justin Bieber, and others. So
yes, and that power, I think, has to be a dynamic here. When we're talking about the Weinstein case,
thanks for joining.
Prototypical Me Too case. Part of why
thumbs up. Hi, Michelle.
For so long in
yes, this is
such a powerful person in that industry.
They're keeping us updated about P. Diddy's homes being raided. Yes.
To what extent
there's more to come. This is just the beginning. They still have to catch him.
Resulted in accountability. Maybe they're not true, but also what role did not wanting to be on the outs of someone who is.
And please subscribe.
Play here, Cassie coming out with these accusations.
Pressure to seem cool to this guy.
Right, and not just seem cool, but not get blacklisted because you accused him of something that he could be sent to jail for. Cassie coming out now, she's an adult. Her career is over. She was kind of a teen star back when I was in college. I think we're about age contemporaries approximately. It is, I do wonder how much the pressures of no longer needing those, the kind of career validation going away might have enabled her to come forward when she did. And again, that case was settled, but there was no legal judgment about what happening there. One other thing that is worth mentioning is that there was a super viral Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharp. It's got to be a couple of months ago now, and it was long. He was spilling the tea on a lot of different celebrities and feuds. Cat Williams was comedian, talking about a lot of different black celebrities in particular. And people have revisited that interview for some hints about what may or may not be coming. And now Cat Williams was right is trending in certain corners of the internet. That's the thing about celebrities like this. There's so much commentary. People do so many podcasts. People do so many interviews. P. Diddy has had such a long career. I'm struggling to remember which name I'm supposed to be calling him because we've gone through the
I think it's just
Diddy,
now,
P.
right?
Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs. I'm a woman of a certain generation. It can't be helped. I'll try not to.
I think he's just Diddy.
I think he's just Diddy. Okay.
Diddy Kong.
But there is a lot more that I suspect is going to come out in the near future, and we'll be here to cover it.
Wasn't it the case that right before all the Bill Cosby stuff came out, there were just comedians? It was like
yes.
There were comedians
yes.
who would joke about it.
Exactly.
Before it hit this, so like people knew it was this underground kind of like really industry secret. It was within people.
Exactly.
In the industry.
And here's what he said, by the way, in that interview. He said, Cat Williams did, I gotta protect my integrity because if P. Diddy be wanting a party and you gotta tell him no, ... The implication being that apparently it's a no-no at very least that he has some wild things going down at his parties, at his house or elsewhere. So stay tuned. We'll let you know if there's any more to know about this particular story. We've got a lot more rising coming up after this.
I believe that.
Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to find some more news stations. News station. Okay, here we go.
Homeland security teams have raided 2 homes associated with Sean Diddy Combs. One of those homes is here in L.A. Eyewitness News reporter Eric Resendez is live in Holmby Hills with the very latest. Eric?
This is the latest.
Yeah, we've learned what was seized during these searches. It was law enforcement sources that told the ABC News that during these 2 court-authorized searches, electronic devices were retrieved. One of the big questions this morning is, where is Diddy now? Images circulating online show that he's possibly in Florida. Take a look. Federal agents searched Sean Diddy Combs' 2 homes, one in Miami and one here in Los Angeles, his Holmby Hills mansion. What was retrieved? A number of electronic devices. The searches are a part of a New York-based human trafficking investigation into the hip-hop mogul. The rapper has recently been associated with legal trouble, including lawsuits over alleged assaults and sex trafficking, which he's denied.
So I think what's happening here is we're looking for the laptops, we're looking for all that information, but we're also looking to try to corroborate any of the allegations that we've seen in these civil lawsuits.
Yesterday, agents were seen detaining 2 men who were later identified as Diddy's sons. They were not arrested. Neighbors tell Eyewitness News they frequently see parties at the property lasting all night, but they weren't aware of any illegal activities.
A lot of celebrities live around here. It's just, they have parties, but now, I mean, I never saw reoccurring girls outside till 6 in the morning. But this house always had it. I drive by a lot, and I see that a lot of girls, maybe 5 or 6 girls outside, some leaving, some not, some going in, black Suburbans. Never know, never thought anything of it, but now this is crazy.
This is an ongoing investigation. As of now, no criminal charges have been filed. Homeland Security says it will provide further information as it becomes available.
The fallout continues after federal agents raid music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami.
And tonight we're hearing from his lawyer for the first time.
All right.
News Miami's Anna McAllister is on Star Island with the latest.
And this was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, Lauren and Elliot, we are hearing from Sean Combs Diddy. As we know him, we're hearing from his lawyer. He says that authorities used a gross level of military use force to get inside of his homes during this raid, and he says that his client is innocent and that they will continue to work to clear his name. Now remember, Combs is facing several lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault, but in the latest one, it's filed on behalf of a male producer that worked with Combs, and in it, he is accusing Combs of sexual assault, and also a member of the royal family is mentioned, as well as a Hollywood actor, and that actor is accused of sexual misconduct. As cars quietly rolled through music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' Star Island property Tuesday, the lawsuits against him are loud and clear. Monday, federal agents raided Combs' homes in Miami and LA in connection with a sex trafficking investigation where belongings of Combs were seized.
They're looking for evidence that would support whether or not an individual or individuals were coerced and had been located at one of these locations and that there might be some physical evidence supporting the testimony that these witnesses have alleged.
The raid comes a few months after Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit accusing him of rape, sex trafficking, and abuse. A case that was settled out of court a day after it was filed. That was the first of the 4 lawsuits filed, the most recent a former producer for Combs, Rodney Little Rod Jones. Jones accusing Combs of sexual harassment. In the lawsuit filed on behalf of Jones, his attorney states that Mr. Combs was known for throwing the best parties, and states that the
Those white parties back in the day.
Powerful individuals to lure people in, naming Prince Harry as someone who attended his parties. While Prince Harry is only mentioned once and he is not accused of any wrongdoing, actor Cuba Gooding Jr. is named multiple times. The lawsuit alleges that Combs tried to force Gooding Jr. onto Jones in January 2023 while on a yacht rented by Combs. The lawsuit states that Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones' legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. After Monday's raid, TMZ obtained video of Combs pacing at the Executive Airport Monday. CBS News has also learned Brendan Paul, mentioned in the most recent lawsuit as Combs' drug mule, was arrested at the Opa-locka Airport for suspected cocaine and marijuana candy on Monday. TMZ also spotted Combs' private jet in Antigua. So what does this all mean, and what could happen next?
They will then utilize a grand jury to present this evidence to the grand jury and seek the return of an indictment if they believe that there's sufficient evidence to show that a crime was committed by an individual or individuals.
And it's important to note that Combs has not been charged with anything up until this point, and he and his attorney, they're denying all of these allegations. But for now, reporting live from Star Island, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.
Anna, thank you.
In a dramatic turn of events, federal investigators raiding 2 homes owned by hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. His properties in Miami and Los Angeles, part of what we're being told is an ongoing investigation. Law enforcement sources familiar with the matter saying the searches are part of a federal investigation led by the Southern District of New York into alleged human trafficking. No charges have been filed.
Now, Combs faces multiple civil lawsuits accusing him of sex trafficking and sexual assault. He has denied all of the allegations and joining us now with more on this developing story, attorney and ABC News contributor Brian Buckmeyer, and from outside Sean Diddy Combs' home in Los Angeles, our very own Kana Whitworth. Good to have you both with us. Kana, we'll start with you. So what's the latest on the raid that happened yesterday at both properties there in Los Angeles and in Miami?
Well, DeMarco, I'll tell you, it was certainly a chaotic scene yesterday. You could see these federal investigators here at this property in Beverly Hills. They were carrying out boxes. At one point, they were sort of searching through the pool furniture, opening up the cushions back there. So again, a chaotic scene, not just here, though, in Beverly Hills, but as well as across the country in Miami. When they searched this home here, though, in California, 2 of his adult sons were here. They were removed from the property, but no arrests have been made at this point. But as you guys mentioned, he is involved now in several civil suits. All of the allegations in every single one of these suits involves some sort of sexual harassment, but one of them also involves allegations of rape. And these are all allegations that at this point he denies, but clearly this investigation has taken it up a notch.
And Brian, we have to ask, what does law enforcement need in order to do a search like this?
Yeah, so the law enforcement needs what's called probable cause. It's enough information that a reasonable officer would need to suggest or believe that a crime did, is, or will occur. And also, they need to be able to articulate to the judge that they can specifically find certain items of evidence within the home that they want to search.
Let's go back to Kana. So, Kana, what are we hearing from Diddy's accusers?
So we did get a statement from a lawyer yesterday. Now, this lawyer represents 2 of the accusers. One of them is Cassie Ventura, and the other one, they keep the name there as Jane Doe. I want to remind everybody, Cassie Ventura is a former love interest of his, and at one point had her claim against him settled within a single day, and there was no admission of wrongdoing. However, this does continue to grow, and upon this statement from the lawyer, they said, first of all, in part, that they were glad to see all of the law enforcement activity activity that they did see yesterday, and they said that hopefully this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for what they call depraved conduct. And to Brian's point here, investigators both here in LA and in Miami would have been looking through these homes for anything that would corroborate some of these claims that they say there is possible evidence inside these homes, things like video, surveillance video, even photographs, guys.
And Ryan, we heard Kanan mention it earlier, but according to law enforcement sources, Diddy's sons were detained while that LA home was searched. They were released without charges. Is that normal during a search like this?
Yes, Eva, this is extremely normal. It has nothing to do with Sean Combs, the allegations. It's just the nature of executing a search warrant. What officers want to do is make sure that everyone involved is safe, whether it be the people inside the home that they're searching or those who are going into the home, those being the officers. Because you don't know who has a weapon inside or who might be startled by this execution of a warrant. But also, as important, if not maybe more so, they want to make sure that the evidence that they're searching for isn't hidden or destroyed. It's another reason why they hit these two locations simultaneously to ensure that if someone was in, for example, Miami and saw that search going on, they weren't texting the people in LA to say, hey, law enforcement might be on their way, hide X, Y, and Z. So that's the reason why you would detain people so they can't communicate, and also for the safety of everyone involved.
Well, one thing is for certain, this story is far from over. Kanan Whitworth and Brian Buckmeyer, again, thanks to you both for being with us. We appreciate it.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. We got more.
There is a lot of reaction to the simultaneous raids on homes in Florida and California linked to music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. At the same time the raids were taking place, Combs was spotted pacing at an airport. But where was he going? Here's Jim Murray.
I'm outside the hip-hop mogul's estate in the exclusive Holmby Hills section of Los Angeles. This is where federal agents conducted the surprise raid, which is reportedly tied to an ongoing investigation involving allegations of sexual assault and sex trafficking. Combs' ex, the singer Cassie, sued him last November for sexual assault. The civil suit was settled in just one day. He denies all allegations of wrongdoing. When you saw the size of these multiple raids, what did that tell you about the potential for charges being filed soon and an arrest impending?
Based on the size of the raid, I expect charges in a matter of days. This may be the beginning of the end for Diddy.
Today, we spotted private security at the estate with handguns.
All right, they just made their way in.
As the LA raid unfolded, two of Combs' sons were handcuffed and detained, routine in a raid like this. They were released without charges. As the feds swooped down on the LA mansion, a simultaneous raid took place at his waterfront estate on Star Island in Miami. Agents were seen loading a van with boxes.
From the air, a scene showing federal agents dressed in tactical gear and fatigues with guns drawn, raiding the Los Angeles and Miami homes of hip-hop producer Sean P. Diddy Combs. Sources tell ABC News investigators with Homeland Security's New York office seized electronics as part of a federal probe involving claims of human trafficking. Neighbors in Los Angeles say the property had frequent visitors and parties.
I see that a lot of girls, maybe 5 or 6 girls outside. Some leaving, some not, some going in, black Suburbans. Never know. I never thought anything of it, but now this is crazy.
We going up, we going live. The 54-year-old, known as P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, is named in several civil lawsuits, including from music producer Lil Rod Jones, accusing him of sexual assault.
The intersection could be that some of these civil claims involve criminal charges like trafficking that don't have a statute of limitations, and that's something the SDNY or Manhattan can investigate, and it appears that they are.
In November, R&B artist Cassie, Diddy's former partner, accused him of rape and repeated abuse and sex trafficking, behavior she says lasted a decade. Her lawsuit was settled in just one day with no admission of wrongdoing. Combs has denied all allegations against him in a December post on social media, writing, "Enough is enough."
Investigators say they are looking for any evidence, including access to videos that would substantiate claims of human trafficking. Tim Pulliam, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Now to the growing problems for Sean Diddy Combs. Yesterday, we told you how federal agents searched 2 of his properties.
Now, this was just 2 hours ago.
Sex and drug trafficking. And today, an updated civil lawsuit makes similar allegations. Chief investigative reporter Jonathan Dees joining us from the newsroom with where this investigation stands today, John.
Not only no criminal charges filed to date in connection with ongoing questions about alleged sex trafficking, but it appears one associate of Combs was arrested yesterday on unrelated drug charges. This is video of Sean Combs yesterday in Miami, shortly after news broke of the raids. The rapper known as Diddy seen pacing shortly after federal agents seized his phones at an airport before a planned trip to the Bahamas. At that airport, Miami police say they also arrested Brendan Paul, who is charged with cocaine possession. A civil lawsuit names Paul as one of Combs' associates. This all happening after Homeland Security Investigations agents descended on his multi-million-dollar Los Angeles home yesterday. They could be seen carrying out boxes and bags of evidence.
Wow.
In Miami yesterday, a similar scene. HSI agents seen taking away evidence, including a laptop.
The speed at which it appears these raids were conducted suggests that agents were concerned that they needed to secure evidence quickly and prevent anyone from destroying evidence before they got there.
The searches, which lasted into the night, were based on search warrants filed here by the Southern District of New York. The matter related to sex trafficking, drugs, and other allegations previously raised in civil lawsuits against the rapper. One lawsuit updated just yesterday by a New York artist named Rodney Jones. He alleges sex trafficking,
look at all those names,
and inappropriate abuse of minors were all part of an organized enterprise, with some of the activity allegedly taking place at Combs' properties. Lawyers for Combs in the past have denied any wrongdoing, but have not commented since yesterday's raids. Federal prosecutors in New York have interviewed numerous women who allege wrongdoing, sources tell us, and former R&B singer and Combs' one-time partner Cassie has accused him of physically and sexually abusing her for years. Combs settled that lawsuit a day after it was filed, but Combs' lawyer says he does not admit any wrongdoing in that matter. Again, no criminal charges filed and the search warrant remains sealed. Combs, again, not yet commenting, but in the past has denied wrongdoing. The criminal investigation continues. David?
Jonathan Deans, our Chief Investigative Reporter. Jonathan, thank you.
That's right. 2 homes were searched yesterday afternoon, one in Miami, the other here in Holmby Hills. And Sky 5 was overhead yesterday when that raid was going on. You can see that video here. Now, we know this happened yesterday afternoon on the 200 block of South Mapleton Drive. That was also happening in Miami at the same time. That's when that home was being raided. They were seen questioning people here appear to be detained, at least temporarily, in Los Angeles. Now, records show the home is not owned by Combs, but is associated with his production company. Now, according to CNN, the investigation is being handled by the Department of Homeland Security's team that deals with human trafficking crime. The outlet also says that the allegations stem from many of the same allegations put forth in several civil lawsuits which have been filed against Combs. Those suits include allegations of sexual assault and sex trafficking. Combs has denied those allegations. Legal experts say it's standard procedure to detain everyone in the house until the search is complete, and that execution of the search warrant was a well-organized plan as raids were happening in 2 locations.
When you are executing a raid in more than one place, that you go in simultaneously so that somebody from Los Angeles can't phone somebody in Miami and vice versa. That doesn't mean that they have evidence that somebody has concealed documents that they're looking for and or will destroy documents. It means that it makes all the sense in the world not to tip off the target or targets of an investigation.
Federal law enforcement officials have not confirmed what the investigation is about, but said this: Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. Singer Cassie Ventura has accused Combs of rape, physical abuse, and forcing her to engage in sex acts with other men before reaching a settlement a day after she filed her lawsuit. Her attorney provided this statement in regards to the raids, saying, "We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct." And TMZ obtained this video. After Combs' homes were raided, he was seen walking around the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport. TMZ reports Combs and some others with him were stopped by officials. Now back here live at this time, we have not heard of any arrests being made. We have reached out to Sean Diddy Combs' representatives for comment.
We begin with breaking news. Federal agents moving in on the rapper Diddy's homes on both coasts.
Authorities on site in Los Angeles and the exclusive Star Island. And that is where we find local Christina Vasquez what we know so far. Christina.
Thanks for tuning in.
Live from Star Island, take a look right outside.
Tonight, new information coming out regarding music mogul Sean Diddy Combs following the raids at his homes in Miami Beach and Los Angeles.
We're now learning that two internationally known celebrities are mentioned in one of the lawsuits. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister joins us from outside Combs' property on Star Island with what we've learned. Anna?
Well, Elliot, Lauren, we're learning quite a lot today, and so far Combs is facing at least 3 separate lawsuits, all accusing him of sexual assault, and that's actually 4 if you're including the lawsuit that was filed on behalf of his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. That lawsuit was settled outside of court, but this latest lawsuit is filed on behalf of a male producer who was working with Combs. It accuses him of sexual harassment, and in this lawsuit, it mentions a member of the royal family, and it also accuses a Hollywood actor of sexual misconduct.
The royal family.
As cars quietly rolled through music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' Star Island property Tuesday, the lawsuits against him are loud and clear. Monday, federal agents raided Combs' homes in Miami and LA in connection with a sex trafficking investigation where belongings of Combs were seized. The raid comes a few months after Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit accusing him of rape, sex trafficking, and abuse. A case that was settled out of court a day after it was filed. That was the first of the 4 lawsuits filed, the most recent a former producer for Combs, Rodney Little Rod Jones. Jones accusing Combs of sexual harassment. In the lawsuit filed on behalf of Jones, his attorney states that Mr. Combs was known for throwing the best parties, and states that the mogul used his connections with famous and powerful individuals to lure people in. Naming Prince Harry as someone who attended his parties. Prince Harry is only mentioned once, and he is not accused of any wrongdoing. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. is named multiple times. The lawsuit alleges that Combs tried to force Gooding Jr. onto Jones in January 2023 while on a yacht rented by Combs. The lawsuit states that Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones' legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. After Monday's raid, TMZ obtained video of Combs pacing at the Opa-locka Executive Airport Monday. CBS News has also learned Brendan Paul, mentioned in the most recent lawsuit as Combs' drug mule, was arrested at the Opa-locka Airport for suspected cocaine and marijuana candy on Monday. TMZ also spotted Combs' private jet in Antigua. And it's important to mention that so far Combs is not facing any charges, and he and his attorneys are denying all of these allegations. But for now, reporting live from Star Island, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.
Federal agents worked into the night after raiding the Los Angeles and Miami Beach homes of rapper and music mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs. While the target of the 2 raids is unclear, sources say they're connected to a human trafficking investigation out of New York. Agents were seen carrying boxes out of Combs' Florida estate.
So I think what's happening here is we're looking for the laptops, we're looking for all that information. We're also looking to try to corroborate any of the allegations that we've seen in these civil lawsuits.
Combs has faced multiple civil lawsuits in recent months accusing him of sexual assault and sex trafficking. He's denied all accusations. In November, his former girlfriend Cassandra Ventura, or Cassie, sued him for $30 million, alleging Combs lured her into an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle, and that he used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Miss Ventura into repeated, unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers. They settled the lawsuit 1 day later for an undisclosed amount with no admission of wrongdoing. But other lawsuits followed. Combs then went on social media to defend himself, posting, "Enough is enough," saying, "Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear, I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." Combs' whereabouts remained unknown overnight. A flight tracking website located his plane on the island of Antigua in the Caribbean, but there's no indication whether or not he was on that plane. A lawyer representing Cassie and another of Combs' accusers said he hopes these raids are the beginning of a process to hold him responsible. ABC News has not heard back from Combs' attorneys. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
It was a stunning scene here in LA's exclusive Holmby Hills neighborhood as agents went through Diddy's $40 million compound. LA's Fox 11 was overhead as they broke the news of the raids first and captured video of Diddy's sons appearing to be in handcuffs during the investigation. They were later released. We were on the ground as authorities carried out the warrants. And in an only in Hollywood moment, a tour van even drove by as the scene unfolded. Agents from Homeland Security Investigations not only searched this 17,000 square foot property, but his $35 million mansion on South Florida's Star Island, after multiple lawsuits have accused Diddy of crimes including sex trafficking, claims that he has denied. Multiple reports say the searches were part of a sex trafficking investigation, but authorities would not confirm if Diddy himself was a target.
We know this, that Diddy and his camp were absolutely blindsided that there was even an investigation.
I spoke with TMZ executive producer Charles Baudier.
What are your sources telling you about Diddy's mindset? He is floored that it has come to this, and obviously I would imagine he is sitting down with his team and his lawyers and trying to figure out what their strategy is going forward. This is now just a wait and see what, if anything, the feds find, and if they feel they have enough to move forward. It is clear that he is in their crosshairs and they want to pursue something. But I will tell you that I know from people that we've spoken to, people in Diddy's camp feel like this was an excessive show of force.
There was some video of Diddy outside of customs, pacing.
This was at Miami's Opa-locka Executive Airport, and Diddy was there on a private jet. We're told was about to head out for some spring break plans when customs agents got on the plane. They were searching the plane and speaking to other passengers. They did not attempt to hold Diddy or detain him.
But a man described in a lawsuit against Combs as Diddy's drug mule was arrested after authorities say they found drugs in that man's travel bags. Monday's raids are the newest legal headache for the billionaire hip-hop mogul.
What y'all wanna do? Wanna be ballers, shot callers, brawlers.
Last November, R&B singer Cassie, who recorded the song Me and You on Diddy's record label, filed this lawsuit. The allegations of abuse, rape, and sex trafficking were so graphic it came with a trigger warning. The two famously steamed up the screen in this 2015 Too Hot for TV commercial for Diddy's fragrance 3 a.m. Back then, he talked with Extra about why he picked Cassie to appear with him.
I knew that the scenes were going to be kind of steamy. I was just like, let me call up Cass, see what she's doing, because, you know, that's what I feel comfortable with.
The two settled that lawsuit only a few days later, but since then, several others have come forward to sue Diddy, including a male music producer who is accusing him of forcing him to hire prostitutes and participate in sex acts as they worked on his newest project, the Love album, Off the Grid.
What is the inspiration behind the title?
I I just wanted to give that to the world again, give that feeling of this is what a baby making record sounds like.
Diddy has denied all of the allegations. In response to the latest lawsuit, he insisted, quote, "We have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies. We are updating new developments as they become available at extratv.com."
Homeland Security agents converging on the home of Sean Diddy Combs.
Officials confirm the raid is tied to a sex trafficking investigation with live team coverage. Gina Silva has a closer look at one lawsuit. There's allegations of sexual assault and drugging of underage girls. We begin, though, with Chelsea Edwards live from Holby Hills on what investigators were looking in for tonight. Chelsea.
Now to the latest on the federal raid at music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' properties, including an estate right here in LA. The searches appear to be part of an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. Eyewitness News reporter Sophie Flay is live in this exclusive Holby Hills neighborhood where agents executed a search warrant. Sophie.
Colleen, we are standing outside of Diddy's home, and yesterday it was filled with Homeland Security agents and law enforcement. Today, it's just media, but as to where he was during those raids is still unclear. A raid carried out by dozens of Homeland Security agents at Sean Diddy Combs' home in Holby Hills Monday, raising questions.
It's safe to say not a lot of people know what's going on, and I'll bet he doesn't really know what's going on either.
His mansion at the center of a federal sex trafficking investigation led out by the HSI Southern District of New York, according to law enforcement. A similar scene at his home in Florida. HSI agents in Miami and Los Angeles seen assisting the search, seizing a number of electronics, according to law enforcement. Agents seen bringing boxes out of his LA home, even looking through cushions in the outdoor pool furniture. And it was there where his two sons were detained for a period of time, but not arrested. Photos obtained by ABC News capturing Diddy's Love Air jet in Antigua. No information about who, if anyone, was on the plane.
I would say, to be careful with what we're hearing, because obviously people are just, piling onto this. They see opportunities for attention. They see opportunities for money.
This comes as Diddy faces legal trouble. Several women have filed civil lawsuits against Combs. A producer also filing a federal lawsuit against him last month. In response, Diddy says he did not do the awful things being alleged. And Colleen, in a statement just released from Combs' attorney, says there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences. The statement goes on to say this is nothing more than a witch hunt and that Mr. Combs is innocent and will fight to clear his name. You can read the full statement on abc7.com.
As we've reported, Homeland Security officials raided two homes belonging to rap and hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs yesterday in connection to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. Jonathan Hunt is in Los Angeles with more details on this developing story.
Agents with Homeland Security raided music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' Los Angeles and Miami homes on Monday. Sources confirmed the raids are connected to a federal sex trafficking investigation. Outside Combs' LA mansion, heavily armed agents could be seen holding long rifles as they cleared the property and led people away in handcuffs or possibly zip ties.
I was really shocked, and I never even expected this to happen.
In Miami,
Thanks for tuning in.
Combs' waterfront mansion there by boat. Homeland Security investigations confirmed the operation originated in New York.
There have been rumors like this for years, for decades, about this kind of behavior from him.
Sean Combs has been the target of several lawsuits alleging sexual abuse just in the past 6 months, the first of which was filed by his former girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura. That suit was settled the day after it was filed, but other suits followed, with claims of forced drugging and sexual assault. And in February, a male music producer also filed suit claiming he had been abused by Combs. Combs has denied the allegations against him. The attorney representing two of those who filed suits told Fox, quote, "Hopefully this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct."
If you
have read this complaint and seen the nature of these allegations, the raids aren't that surprising.
Lawyers for Combs have not responded to our request for comment since his homes were raided. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox 32 Chicago.
The electronic devices of one Sean Diddy Combs now getting combed by federal agents who are looking at the media mogul as part of a sex trafficking investigation.
Now, those agents seized the devices during simultaneous raids at his Los Angeles and Miami homes. Now, Sean Diddy Combs has yet to comment on those raids, so that we are learning this evening that he may not even have been in the country.
I would report Dora Miles in the newsroom now with new information in this case. Dora?
Bill, this investigation is being led by the Southern District U.S. Attorney's Office, which is located here in Lower Manhattan. And at this point, there's no indication that this involves any property Combs might have here in New York City. We are told that he is cooperating with the investigation. He was last seen in Miami Monday afternoon, but he has been keeping a very low profile since these raids. This is a picture of Love Air, a private jet owned by Sean Diddy Combs, taken Tuesday afternoon at the International Airport in Antigua. But there's no sign of him after federal agents carried out simultaneous raids at his homes in Miami and Los Angeles Monday afternoon.
I see that a lot of girls, maybe 5 or 6 girls outside, some leaving, some not, some going in, black Suburbans. Never know. I never thought anything of it, but now it's crazy.
In the hours-long search with SWAT teams in heavy body armor and long guns, agents in a Homeland Security investigation seized electronics and other possible evidence into sex trafficking allegations. An investigation triggered by civil lawsuits accusing Combs of sexual assault, beatings, rape, and forced sex with sex workers. The first civil suit was filed back in November by his ex-girlfriend of 10 years, Cassie Ventura. 2 more women came forward that same month filing suits with similar allegations. Another one came forward in December, and a male producer came forward last month. Ventura's suit was settled one day after it was filed. Her attorney, who also represents another female accuser, says, hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct.
The intersection could be that some of these civil claims involve criminal charges like trafficking that don't have a statute of limitations, and that's something the SDNY or Manhattan can investigate. It appears that they are.
While no criminal charges have been filed, a federal investigation has been underway for several months, interviewing alleged victims and possible witnesses. Combs has repeatedly denied all allegations. In an Instagram post penned at the top of his X feed, he writes, "Enough is enough," saying, "Sickening allegations that have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." Now, federal agents plan to continue to conduct interviews about these explosive claims made in the civil lawsuits. Again, Ventura settled her suit, but the 4 other civil lawsuits are ongoing.
And for more on this investigation, let's bring in former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker. Chris, great to have you on the show. I mean, the big headline there is kind of what we want to get into you with, because it is now been confirmed this is a sex trafficking case, but Sean Combs is not the target. Well, he sure looks like the target, though, Chris. What do you
You sure do.
Yeah, I mean, apparently HSI is leaking out a lot of information, and you're right. It looks like there's a very significant sex trafficking, human trafficking investigation underway, and it looks like it's coming out of the HSI Division of International Organized Crime, or something along those lines. So it looks pretty significant. Got 2 major search warrants, a lot of process around those search warrants, a lot of kitted out tactical people raiding those 2 locations. So it looks like a lot of drama around all this. And you know there's enough probable cause, because you don't get search warrants without strong probable cause, that there is at least a human trafficking, sex trafficking ring at work here. And explain that to us if you would, Chris, because I know we have talked about, Jonathan just talked about the fact that there have been a number of lawsuits brought against Sean Combs, women alleging that he drugged them, and et cetera, and so on. My questioning, where does the trafficking come in there? What is it that we need to constitute human trafficking, sex trafficking, et cetera? Yeah, that's a great question, because it looks like some of these lawsuits are sort of personal lawsuits, sexual assaults, sort of one-off. So to make human trafficking or make a human trafficking violation under federal law, you have to be taking women against their will and forcing them to commit sexual acts. Query whether there are underage women involved in this investigation. That
Thanks
would
for
make it even
tuning
more
in.
serious if underage women or men are being forced to commit sexual acts, crossing state lines, crossing international boundaries. And also a question mark is, what does this tie into an organized crime group, a human trafficking organization? And I can tell you, the federal agencies don't like to get involved in one-off type cases. Neither the FBI or HSI will engage in small one-off, one or two, prostitution rings and that sort of thing. If they're working this case, there are every indications that this is a serious, significant human trafficking ring here.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of go one further with you on that, because here is former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky, what he had to say about this.
They allege everything from rape to sex trafficking to being drugged, and then also things like sexual harassment and other workplace type violence or abuses that are going on. I put this somewhere in between a Harvey Weinstein and an R. Kelly type of case. So I think that
Wow.
the criminal aspects are something that have to be deeply investigated.
In other words, he's saying, Chris, this is a significant case, and now you've got the you've got the Southern District of New York involved in this. A lot of heavy hitters in that area. So it really looks like Sean Combs, Diddy, is in some trouble.
It appears so. I mean, the question is, since they're issuing some disclaimers about him being the target, is he really the target? I mean, it sure seems so. I mean, logic would tell you they're going to his house, going to both houses. They're focusing on his two sons. They have them in zip ties. During the course of the search warrants, they may have searched his airplane at Opa-locka and detained some people at Opa-locka Airport, which I worked down in Miami. That's an airport of some notoriety. It's a small airport. Used to be a smuggler's airport. So, there's a lot to work with here. And I guess it all rolls back around to it's a pretty significant investigation. If you've got HSI going to all
Those his two sons. That's Justin right there. Justin and
Former FBI Assistant Director
King,
Chris Wecker. Chris, great to have you on the show as always. Thank you.
which is Christian.
Good evening, I'm Micah Holman.
And I'm Cher Calvin. Rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs is at the center of a federal investigation tonight into alleged sexual assaults and sex trafficking.
Two of his lavish mansions were raided by Homeland Security agents as the probe is widening. One of the homes is located on South Mapleton Drive in Holmby Hills. Sky 5 was over the scene as agents were in and out of the home all day long. Combs was not at home at the time of the raid and is said to be in Miami.
All of this a stunning development for Combs, who denies all of the allegations. KTLA 5's Mary Beth McDade is live in Holmby Hills with the latest on this investigation. Mary Beth.
Well, Mike and Cher, the raid is over and the road here in front of Sean Combs has reopened. We've actually seen several cars entering his property here tonight. Now, Combs was spotted in Miami after the two raids. However, it's unclear exactly where the rapper is tonight. The feds raid Sean Holmes' Holmby Hills estate, while another team descends upon the rap mogul's Miami mansion.
I live in the area, and I heard the helicopters, and I looked at the news, and a friend actually texted me look at the news, because he knows how close I live to him.
Homeland Security agents could be seen swarming the LA area residents and detaining several people. Apparently, two of those detained were Combs' sons.
I'm shocked and not shocked. You hear all the rumors and all of this stuff that goes on about the wild sex parties and stuff, and all of the things he has people do to become famous.
The raids reportedly have to do with a federal probe out of New York involving possible sex trafficking and sexual assault, among other allegations related to 54-year-old Combs. Earlier today, Homeland Security investigators out of New York confirmed law enforcement actions were taken as part of an ongoing investigation with the help of agents in LA and Miami. The raids come 4 months after Combs' ex-girlfriend singer Cassie accused him of sex assault and sex trafficking. Several others have since reportedly filed similar suits. The officers would have executed that search warrant to gather any type of evidence to prove or establish that a crime has been committed and he is the person that committed the crime. And Combs has denied any wrongdoing and
This is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Off the top, the NTSB is in Baltimore. It is after a cargo ship slammed into a bridge overnight, causing it to collapse. It sent construction workers and vehicles into the water. Search efforts continue as federal investigators arrive at the scene. CBS News Miami's Ryan Hughes has the very latest.
Okay, this is Diddy's house in LA. That's a huge house. Oh, wow. Wow, look at that. Look. Diddy's home trashed and raided. Look. Wow. Thanks for watching.